Welcome back to our series on the Presidents of the United States. In the first part, we gave you a comprehensive overview of all the presidents, from George Washington to Joe Biden. Now, in this second part, we will delve even deeper into the lives and legacies of each president. We'll explore their personal lives, their political careers, and the impact they had on the country and the world. So buckle up and get ready for a closer look at the American presidents, as we continue our journey through history. Jimmy Carter, 1977 to 1981. Jimmy Carter was the 39th President of the United States and is best known for his efforts to promote human rights, including his support for the Camp David Accords and his role in negotiating the SALT II Treaty. He is also remembered for his efforts to promote energy independence, including his support for the creation of the Department of Energy and his role in the establishment of the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. Ronald Reagan, 1981 to 1989. Ronald Reagan was the 40th President of the United States and is widely remembered as one of the most influential presidents in American history. He is best known for his efforts to promote economic growth, including his support for the Reaganomics program and his role in ending the Cold War. He is also remembered for his efforts to restore national pride, including his support for the Star Wars missile defense system and his efforts to restore the American spirit. George H. W. Bush, 1989 to 1993. George H. W. Bush was the 41st President of the United States and is best known for his efforts to promote international peace, including his role in leading the coalition that expelled Iraq from Kuwait in the Persian Gulf War. He is also remembered for his efforts to promote economic growth, including his support for the Americans with Disabilities Act and his role in negotiating the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA. Bill Clinton, 1993 to 2001. Bill Clinton was the 42nd President of the United States and is best known for his efforts to promote economic growth, including his support for the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, and his role in balancing the federal budget. He is also remembered for his efforts to promote social issues, including his support for the Family and Medical Leave Act and his role in the passage of the Violence Against Women Act. George W. Bush, 2001 to 2009. George W. Bush was the 43rd President of the United States and is best known for his efforts to promote national security, including his role in leading the United States in the war on terror following the 9/11 attacks. He is also remembered for his efforts to promote economic growth, including his support for the 2001 tax cuts and his role in the creation of the Department of Homeland Security. Barack Obama, 2009 to 2017. Barack Obama was the 44th President of the United States and is widely remembered as one of the most transformative presidents in American history. He is best known for his efforts to promote healthcare reform, including his support for the Affordable Care Act and his role in the expansion of Medicaid. He is also remembered for his efforts to promote environmental sustainability, including his support for the Paris Agreement on climate change and his role in increasing funding for renewable energy research. Donald J. Trump, 2017 to 2021. Donald J. Trump was the 45th President of the United States and is best known for his efforts to promote economic growth, including his support for tax cuts and his role in negotiating new trade deals. He is also remembered for his efforts to promote immigration reform, including his support for building a wall along the Mexican border and his role in implementing the travel ban from several Muslim-majority countries. Joe Biden, 2021-present. Joe Biden is the 46th President of the United States and is best known for his efforts to promote national unity, including his support for measures to address the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic and his role in supporting economic relief for those affected by the pandemic. He is also remembered for his efforts to promote social justice, including his support for measures to address systemic racism and his role in promoting equal rights for all Americans. Here are some of the political contributions of the United States. The U.S. Constitution. The United States is founded on the principles outlined in its Constitution, which outlines the structure of the federal government and protects individual rights and freedoms. The Bill of Rights. The first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution, collectively known as the Bill of Rights, further protect individual rights and freedoms, such as freedom of speech, religion, and the press. The American Revolution. The American Revolution was a key moment in the formation of the United States, as the colonies gained independence from British rule and established a democratic government. The Civil War. The Civil War was a defining moment in American history, as the country fought to end slavery and preserve the Union. The outcome of the war helped shape the country's political landscape for decades to come. Civil Rights Movement. The civil rights movement was a series of political and social protests in the mid-20th century that sought to end racial segregation and discrimination. The movement had a profound impact on American society and led to significant political and legislative changes. Foreign policy. The United States has been a major player in world politics, with a foreign policy that has had a significant impact on global events and shaped the world's political landscape. Here are some of the relationships between United States presidents and other countries. George Washington and France. During his presidency, George Washington maintained strong diplomatic ties with France, which was a key ally of the United States during the American Revolution. Abraham Lincoln and Great Britain. Despite tensions between the United States and Great Britain during the Civil War, President Abraham Lincoln maintained diplomatic relations with the British government and worked to prevent the conflict from escalating into a larger war. Franklin D. Roosevelt and the Soviet Union. During World War II, President Franklin D. Roosevelt formed a close alliance with the Soviet Union, working together to defeat Nazi Germany. John F. Kennedy and the Soviet Union. President John F. Kennedy faced significant challenges in his relationship with the Soviet Union, including the Cuban Missile Crisis and the start of the Cold War. Ronald Reagan and the Soviet Union. President Ronald Reagan took a hardline stance against the Soviet Union, pursuing a policy of peace through strength that helped bring an end to the Cold War. Barack Obama and Cuba. President Barack Obama worked to improve relations with Cuba, lifting some economic sanctions and re-establishing diplomatic relations with the island nation after more than 50 years of tension. George W. Bush and the Middle East. President George W. Bush pursued a foreign policy that emphasized the war on terror, invading Iraq and Afghanistan in response to the 9/11 attacks. Donald J. Trump and North Korea. President Donald J. Trump pursued a controversial relationship with North Korea, engaging in high-stakes diplomacy with the country's leader, Kim Jong-un. Jimmy Carter and Iran. President Jimmy Carter faced significant challenges in his relationship with Iran, including the Iranian Revolution and the hostage crisis at the U.S. Embassy in Tehran. Richard Nixon and China. President Richard Nixon played a key role in re-establishing relations with China, visiting the country in 1972 and paving the way for improved diplomatic ties between the two nations. Bill Clinton and Russia. President Bill Clinton worked to improve relations with Russia, helping to transition the country from a communist state to a democratic one and pursuing a policy of cooperation and engagement. George W. Bush and Iraq. President George W. Bush played a key role in the Iraq War, leading the United States in a military campaign to remove Saddam Hussein from power. Bill Clinton and the Balkans. President Bill Clinton played a key role in the Balkans, working to end the conflict in Bosnia and promoting stability and peace in the region. Barack Obama and Afghanistan. President Barack Obama played a key role in the conflict in Afghanistan, escalating U.S. involvement in the war and ultimately leading to a major military and political challenge. John F. Kennedy and the Soviet Union. President John F. Kennedy faced significant challenges in his relationship with the Soviet Union, including the Cuban Missile Crisis and the escalating Cold War. Harry S. Truman and Japan. President Harry S. Truman played a key role in ending World War II, ordering the use of atomic bombs against Japan in August 1945. Lyndon B. Johnson and Vietnam. President Lyndon B. Johnson was deeply involved in the Vietnam War, expanding U.S. military involvement in the conflict and ultimately leading to the end of U.S. involvement in the region. Gerald Ford and South Vietnam. President Gerald Ford was faced with the task of ending U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War, ultimately overseeing the fall of Saigon and the end of the conflict. Dwight D. Eisenhower and the Soviet Union. President Dwight D. Eisenhower pursued a policy of containment towards the Soviet Union, working to limit the spread of communism and maintain global stability. John F. Kennedy and Cuba. President John F. Kennedy faced significant challenges in his relationship with Cuba, including the Bay of Pigs invasion and the Cuban Missile Crisis. Jimmy Carter and the Middle East. President Jimmy Carter played a key role in resolving the Iranian hostage crisis, working to free American hostages who had been taken captive in Tehran. Woodrow Wilson and Mexico. President Woodrow Wilson faced significant challenges in his relationship with Mexico, including the Mexican Revolution and the United States intervention in the country during the 1910s. Herbert Hoover in Europe. President Herbert Hoover was faced with the task of addressing the global economic crisis of the Great Depression, working with European leaders to address the economic fallout and prevent further economic instability. Franklin D. Roosevelt in Latin America. President Franklin D. Roosevelt played a key role in shaping U.S. policy towards Latin America, pursuing a good neighbor policy that emphasized diplomacy and cooperation with the countries of the region. Harry S. Truman in Germany. President Harry S. Truman played a key role in the post-World War II reconstruction of Germany, overseeing the implementation of the Marshall Plan and working to rebuild the country and promote stability in Europe. George H. W. Bush and the Gulf War. President George H. W. Bush played a key role in the Gulf War, leading a coalition of countries in a successful military campaign to liberate Kuwait from Iraqi occupation. Bill Clinton and North Korea. President Bill Clinton pursued a policy of engagement towards North Korea, working to reduce tensions and prevent a nuclear conflict on the Korean peninsula. Barack Obama and Iran. President Barack Obama pursued a controversial policy of engagement towards Iran, negotiating the Iran nuclear deal in an effort to prevent the country from obtaining a nuclear weapon. Jimmy Carter and the Panama Canal. President Jimmy Carter played a key role in negotiating the return of the Panama Canal to Panama, transferring control of the waterway from the United States to Panama in a historic agreement. Joe Biden and NATO. President Joe Biden has emphasized the importance of NATO and the transatlantic alliance, working to strengthen relationships with key allies and maintain the stability of the world order. Donald Trump and China. President Donald Trump pursued a confrontational policy towards China, engaging in a trade war with the country and pursuing a more aggressive approach to China's rise as a global power. We hope that this video has given you a deeper understanding of the rich history of the Presidents of the United States and the important role they have played in shaping the country we know today. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more informative and educational content.